Hi, thanks for watching. It's Monday the 25th of November and let's take a look at what's happening in astrology today. Neptune has got a lot of influence going on today actually. Neptune is all over the place. But first of all, let's take a look at the moon. She is waning now at the moment. It is actually going to be new moon tomorrow on Tuesday the 26th. And that is going to be 15:05 UK time, UTC if you like. So let me see, 10:05 a.m. On the east coast of the States and Canada, 7:05 a.m. Pacific, so you guys will very much be waking up to it, unless you're working hard on night shift. I know everybody's kind of different in the times they keep and everything. I woke up really late this morning, and that's sort of been the trend just lately, and I've realised, yes, I'm not the insomniac that I was just a few weeks ago, actually, and I've been an insomniac for years, but for some reason I had all these crazy mad dreams during the last Mercury retrograde particularly, and suddenly I'm waking up kind of at a reasonable time now, which is great, and it just shows that things can change after years and years of being an insomniac. Had all those crazy dreams, wondered what the point of it was, and bingo, sort of come out the other side of it, and something positive has changed for me. So there we go, positive change. It's really what it's all about. So we've got a Scorpio moon at the moment. She entered Scorpio at the weekend. The new moon is going to actually be in Sagittarius, and the moon is going to enter Sagittarius tomorrow, Tuesday the 26th, at 11 minutes past midnight Pacific, Eastern 3:11 a.m. So that's going to be 8:11 a.m. here in UK. So we will just be waking up maybe a bit before it, maybe like today. If I wake up at the time I woke up today, it'll be kind of already a Sagittarius moon, which suits me because I'm a Saggy. But what are you going to do about it? Anyway, yeah, she is very, very close to new moon now. All the lunar energy, of course, is at something of a low. The moon isn't the only influence out there, but by far the strongest one as far as I can see in terms of what changes from one day to the next. And right now she is 2.2% full, still waning, still crescent. Crescent is just kind of where it's kind of like that rather than like that. You know what I mean? It's gibbous when it's like that. So it's a crescent moon. Really not a lot of power going on with the moon at the moment, but yeah, that is only one of the influences out there. Neptune is actually all over the place at the moment in today's chart. And Neptune, she's a planet which is, well, she's all to do with kind of empathy, really. Malleability as well. Things can change quite nicely usually when Neptune is in the picture. They can certainly change anyway. And intuition tends to be heightened as well. It's a real good time for anything intuitive, and that could be around healing particularly. That's an important characteristic of anyone doing healing, to have that intuitive side, because people who come to us wanting to have healing in their lives, often, they'll have a pretty good idea why, but the intuition can take you a bit deeper into what's going on. And it's not about being kind of super smart and knowing more than other people. It's just getting an insight that takes you deeper into what things mean and where things are going for a particular person. Neptune also has a lot to do with dedication and all, more or less positively, depending on the other things that are going on in astrology. But Neptune's everywhere today. I shall get to that in a minute. So dedication and mental development as well, actually broadening the mind, that kind of thing. And that is going to be a real strong influence with the moon coming into Sagittarius. Now, we haven't actually got that Sagittarius moon yet, but it is the next thing to happen, it's the applying aspect, it's what's coming towards us, and that is very often every bit as much of an influence, if not maybe more of an influence, than when the moon is actually where she is at the moment. It's what's coming towards us that really matters, and let's face it, there wouldn't be much point in taking any notice of astrology if we were just going to say sort of where is it now, what's happening today. And I'm intending to make these videos a wee bit longer actually, just to take those things into account. Now then, what else was I going to say about Neptune? Essentially, right, she's the ruling planet of Pisces, and you know, the domicile of that then is in the 12th house quite strongly. Traditionally, well, you know, in the old tradition, the ancient tradition, Jupiter was the ruling planet of Pisces, but Neptune has come to be seen as that ruling planet now. So, you know, anyone who's a Pisces is going to be affected one way or the other by Neptune. And certainly that depends kind of also, you know, if your main sign isn't Pisces, where is Pisces in your birth chart? That is so worth thinking about. And if you've never had a birth chart done, well, pretty much all the time I've been an astrologer, it hasn't been my practice to do birth charts for people, although it's fascinating, and I have actually done many. But nowadays, if someone asks for a birth chart, I always, in fact, tell them to go to an astrology website and actually look up a free one there, because all the big astrology websites do free birth chart these days. It's a super accurate thing because it's not really a thing that's open to interpretation. You know, your ruling planets, your whatever the planets mean to you is based, you know, all the meanings we have in astrology are based on statistics that have been gathered really since the dawn of time. So it's not something that an astrologer can, you know, a particularly good astrologer would set up a different birth chart for you, a bad astrologer wouldn't. It's something, you know, that they are facts really. They are pretty well concrete facts. So if you've never had a birth chart done, head on over to your favourite astrology website and get a birth chart done there. I say your favourite one, that matters because it's the way it's presented, and if you really like a particular website, then it's going to work a lot better for you. Mine that I got done was by ALAB, that's ALABE.com. I really like that website a lot. It talks the way I like to take information in, so that's the one I look at. I have actually had a birth chart done for me by an actual human being at one point, and it is very good, I must say. But basically, when I, you know, got the ALAB one, it's saying pretty much the same thing. So do get a birth chart done. Find out what these things mean to you, and it'll give you actually a better handle on what's going on today. So anyway, here we are with the moon just coming to the end of Scorpio, but still very much in Scorpio, 2.2% full, and she is today trine Neptune, and this is where Neptune starts coming into it. People are more likely to show their sensitivity and their compassionate side when the moon is trine Neptune. It's a really positive thing, actually. Although, of course, it can, excuse me, it can bring a bit of upset into the picture. Let me just take a quick drink of tea. Now, I'm sensitive today. Look, I've got my healing purple flowery cup, which always makes me think it's a healing kind of a day. So I guess I could choose any cup I wanted, but for some reason I've gone to that one, and that is esoteric. You know, that is something that's just a decision that the human mind makes as we go through the day, as things come up. Anyway, right, so Moon trine Neptune, sensitive, compassionate, excuse me, and people start focusing on the future. This has a lot to do with the malleability side of things, the ability to change things. Malleable, it's a long word, isn't it? But basically there are two different kinds of, well, there are probably many more than two, but in terms of what I'm talking about, there are two different kinds of steel, which is that metal that we do so much with in different ways in our lives. Some of them are kind of what you call ductile, and that means they can be bent to shape to make whatever you want out of them. Some of them are tensile, and they will just they'll break if you try to bend them. And so when we get something malleable going on, it's really positive in terms of being able to change things. Nothing then is written in letters of stone. So all kinds of things can change with the moon trine Neptune. I'll say it again, that lunar influence isn't terribly strong at the moment because she is right down to 2.2% right now, and will actually still be waning right through until we get the new moon tomorrow. And what's the timing of that again? Can't see it. Let's go back here and have another look. Right, okay. The timing of that is going to be 15:05 GMT UTC, which is what goes on. That's the time we have in the UK at the moment when it isn't British summertime, and it isn't British summertime now. So 15:05, that's going to mean 10:05 a.m. On the east coast of the States and Canada, 7:05 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be a case of waking up to it. Okay, so that's the moon. She's trine Neptune. The sun. Right, and whatever your main sign is, like if you're a Sagittarius or a Pisces, whatever, that is your sun sign, yeah, and the sun is square Neptune. We tend to look less at the sun characteristics because they change less from day to day. The sun is considerably, I think it's like 40 times further away from Earth than the moon, but it has everything to do with rules and the way we conduct ourselves, the way we normally are, really. The moon is so important because she's all about the way things change from day to day, from month to month, in fact all the time, really. But the sun is square Neptune. Now, that isn't such an easy alignment as a trine. Trines are very kind of positive. Squares, it's not as bad as an opposition, but things can get opposed, you know. Things don't flow quite so smoothly with a square, and the sun is square Neptune. So leaders may be hard to understand, is what it says here, as they struggle with decision making. Well, we've got an election going on in UK at the moment, and all the campaigning for that. It's so miserable, I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't even like putting the radio on to listen to the news in the morning, because it's just a pack of lies constantly. But I have a feeling that wherever you are in the world, you might find that politicians lie. There's an old British joke. It's probably a joke wherever you are as well. How can you tell if a politician is lying? Because their lips are moving. Now then, it isn't really possible to lie about astrology. It's one of the great things I like about it. Same with any kind of spiritual discipline, really. Because like I was saying with the birth charts, a fact is a fact. So leaders are struggling with decision making, which way to go, what to do. Resignations, scandals, that kind of thing. Make it a difficult time to really predict exactly what's going to happen in terms of the sun, in terms of ruling things, in terms of leading things. People might resign, scandals might come up, you never know. But what is certain is that there will be turbulence in political circles because of that sun square Neptune situation that we've got today. Changes and difficulties as well, actually, are more than likely, or well, certainly possible, I wouldn't say too much likely, in artistic and religious circles. But, you know, those are things that are governed, thankfully, by other things than day-to-day worldly concerns. So hopefully that isn't going to be too much of a problem. But there may be artistic differences with people. You know, if you've got a band practice today, could be difficult, could be people arguing about things. There usually is if you're in a band, by the way. You know, that's certainly, if you ever watched Spinal Tap, you know, that would be a good example. I've been watching Spinal Tap this weekend, and it's really sunk into my mind. It's made my mind go up to 11. That's what it's done. Okay, so, you know, religious circles, well, you would hope that there shouldn't be real differences in religious circles. That's what you'd hope. But, I mean, there always have been. As long as people have been following religions, there have been disagreements about what it all means, for sure. Anyway, that's it. Sun square Neptune, Moon trine Neptune, and Mercury is also trine Neptune. Mercury is still in the post-shadow to retrograde, although it's much less intense now. Things are settling down. Dreams are certainly calming down with me. Are they calming down with you? I hope so, friends. Do let me know in the comments how you're getting on with that, because Mercury retrograde is well and truly over, but we really are still getting the lessons from it and starting to understand what it was all about. Should have been raising awareness, I hope. And with Mercury trine Neptune, imaginative conversations are factored in. Future planning again, and vision questing. Now that is a real kind of, you know, what is vision questing? It's a bit of an out there thing to say, but it is actually very, very important in terms terms of the feel-good factor of life, you know, and even people who don't know what that means, even people who have no kind of spiritual interest in anything like that, no religious beliefs, nothing like that, do have some kind of vision. It's like saying, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? It's even like saying, you know, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And that is such a big question. But bit by bit, we keep making progress. Life is change. It would be not much of a life if everything stayed the same all the time. So life is change, and those imaginative conversations are all a big part of seeing what is ahead of us. And again, because the moon is just on her way into Sagittarius, as low as her influence is, we are coming up to new moon, where nothing much is going on, but the result of nothing much going on means that anything can happen and the only way is up. Yeah, so imaginative conversations are really good things to have at the moment. It's actually, as well as that, it's a good time to retreat into yourself if you really need to. It's a good time for closure, for finding inspiration, and for working on your own spirituality. And when I say working on your own spirituality, you know, that can really just be having a quiet time. That is no bad thing at all. As we go forward, there will be more to do in terms of networking with other people. But if you're really kind of needing to take a break from the goings on and the changes of life, it's not a bad time for it. Just that things will then change in your mind, in your head, because life is change and we're all alive today. So we might as well we might as well celebrate that and separate ourselves a bit from the world if we need to. Mercury trine Neptune is good for that. And although we're in the post-shadow to Mercury retrograde, Mercury is actually headed the right way across the sky. During retrograde, she looks as if she's going backwards. She doesn't go backwards ever. None of the planets do, but all the planets apart from the sun and the moon will look as if they're going backwards and forwards. Just because of the way the universe works, because the Earth moves in relation to them, and other things happen that kind of bend the light as we see it. So yeah, Mercury direct anyway, nothing much to worry about there. But if you can actually be out and meet people today, and you're actually out in the world, then, you know, conversations are likely to be imaginative. You are likely to see a useful way forward, a helpful way forward somewhere along the line with that. Venus is void in Sagittarius, so, you know, people might be taking risks that not everybody agrees with. Excuse me. Impulsive decisions, you know, made in a hurry can prove troublesome later. Well, that's a fact of life every day, really. But it's indicated with Venus void in Sagittarius. Mars is trine Neptune, acting on beliefs, protests, that kind of thing. Ideology, beliefs kind of can become a bit of a grindstone there, but hopefully they won't, because with Neptune in the first three positions, the Sun, the Moon and Mercury are all around Neptune today. Hopefully, you know, all those, any kind of differences will actually turn into something that can grow. You know how I love Rush lyrics, they're my favourite band ever. And there's the song Entre Nous from Permanent Waves. And just between us, I think it's time for us to realise I should look these things up before I start. The spaces in between leave room for you and I to grow. That's what I'm trying to say. So where there are differences today, there is a real possibility of growth, a strong possibility of growth. Well, friends, I'm going to leave it there. Haven't covered absolutely everything, but hey, who's got all day for this, really? But we have got all day ahead of us, and all these influences are going to play into it. So if you haven't yet, have that birth chart done. Give me a thumbs up, please, if you've enjoyed this one. Leave me a comment. We will share the journey, and share me around the internet if you possibly can. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed. Thanks to everyone who leaves comments. It bigs the channel up all the time, which is great. And it's really, really positive for me to get that feedback. And I love to have the link with people around the world. So do drop me a comment, and I'll see you again very soon. Peace.